Hello everyone, I'm Robert. Welcome back to our Data Management 1 module. In this video, we will continue to discuss the group by function, especially how it can use together with the n and n distinct function. At the end of this video, I will give you guys an exercise to wrap up this module. We'll first load in our packages, clear the global environment, and load in our Houston flights dataset. Let's do a little review of the functions that we have talked about in the previous video. The group by function will group our dataset internally. To use this function, we'll first pass the data frame name into the function. Then we pass the names of the variables that we want to group the dataset by. The n function returns the number of observations within each group. We don't need to pass any argument into this function. The n distinct function returns the number of unique observations in each group. In this function, we need to pass in the variable name that we want to find the distinct values from. Besides n and n distinct, we have nth. This function returns the value of a variable at a given index. So for this function, we need to pass in the variable name as well as an index. Before we look at some examples using the group by function, let me show you two examples using just n distinct and nth. In the first example, we want to find out the distinct values of airlines in our dataset. So here we will use the n distinct function. Inside the n distinct function, we will extract unique carrier variable from the DAT data frame. When we pass this into the n distinct function and run this, we can see that we have 15 unique carriers in our dataset. In the next example, we want to find out the 10th value of departure delay in our dataset. So we will be using the nth function. We'll first pass departure delay, the variable name, into the function. Then we pass the index 10 into the function. When we run this, we can see that the 10th value of departure delay is 43 in our dataset. Next, we will be looking at this example using group by, summarize, and n function together. In this example, we will first want to group the dataset using unique carrier and cancel these two variables. The cancelled variable is a binary variable that takes a value of 1 if the flight is cancelled and 0 otherwise. We want to create a summary statistics called count, which documents the number of observations within each group. And we want to use the summarize function to export it to a separate data frame. So here we want to first use the group by function and passing our variable names. Then we use the summarize function, creating a new variable called count. On the right side of the equation, we'll put the n function, which will return the number of observations within each group. When we run these three lines, we get our G3. And we can take a look at it. We can see here we have 3 columns: unique carrier, cancelled, and count. And we have 29 observations here. Each row represents a group. That's a unique combination of unique carrier and cancelled. And we can see the number of flights within each group. Great. This is basically everything that you need to know for the dplyr package. Let's wrap up this module with a slightly more complicated example. So in this exercise, we have 4 main tasks. The first task is to group the Houston flights dataset using the unique carrier variable. Then we want to generate some summary statistics, including the number of flights within each group, the number of cancelled flights, the percentage of cancelled flights, and the average delay. Afterward, we want to filter out all the airlines with at least 100 flights. And lastly, we want to arrange the dataset using the ascending order of average delay. And also, we want to link all these commands using the pipe operator. Here's a note for task 2. So we can pass an expression into the sum or min function. If the expression is true, it will be evaluated as 1 and 0 otherwise. So if we pass the expression into the sum function, this will give us the total number of observations for which the expression is true within each group. And if we pass the same expression into the min function, that will give us the percentage of cases for which the expression is true. So the sum function can be used to calculate the total number of cancelled flights, and the min function can be used to calculate the percentage of cancelled flights for our task 2. So now please pause the video and give it a try. Great. Hopefully everyone has tried it, and now I'm going to show you the solution. So we'll first create a new variable, a new data frame called final, and we use the assignment operator. On the right-hand side of the assignment operator, we have dat. This is the data frame that we will apply the functions to. Then we use the pipe operator to pipe these commands. Moving on to our first task, we will first group the dataset using the unique carrier variable. So we'll simply pass unique carrier into the group by function. In our second task, we want to generate summary statistics for this dataset. The first one is the number of flights within each group. So we create a new variable called n_flights, and on the right side of the equation, we use the n function, which gives us the total number of observations for each group. Secondly, we want to know the total number of cancelled flights. So here we will be passing an expression into the sum function. The expression will be cancelled equals to 1, because the flight is cancelled if the cancelled variable is 1. When we pass it into the sum function, we can get the total number of cancelled flights within each group. Then we want to know the percentage of cancelled flights. This is similar. In this case, we will be passing the same expression into the min function. And lastly, we want to get the average delay. So we will create a new variable called avg delay. On the right side of the equation, we will use the min function. We'll pass in the variable arrival delay and set na.remove to true. So here we are using the min function in a more conventional way. Moving on to our third task, we want to filter out all the airlines who have at least 100 flights. So we will be using our filter function here. In our filter function, we'll use the expression n_flights is greater than or equal to 100. Recall the n_flights variable is what we created with the summarize function here. And finally, we want to sort the dataset using the ascending order of average delay. So we'll just put average delay into the arrange function, and the arrange function will sort the dataset using the ascending order by default. And one more thing is we need to notice that because we are using the pipe operator, we will not need to pass the dataset name into these functions. When we run this, we can get our final dataset. And let's take a look at it. We have all our summary statistics here, and we also have our group variable unique carrier. And we can see that all the unique carriers here have at least 100 flights, and the dataset is sorted in the ascending order of average delay. This dataset satisfies all our requirements. Cool. This is a pretty complex example, but if you understand it, that means you're doing really well with the dplyr package. And this is the end of this module, and thank you guys for watching.